Hey guys, Thogden here, welcome back to a new video. Now today, we're going to be going through every single Premier League club and picking one player that they should have signed in January. It's as simple as that. We're going to go in alphabetical order, starting with Arsenal. The player they've been highly linked with in January and in the summer previously is the centre-back for RB Leipzig, Upamecano. I don't know how to say his name, but he is quality. He's young, he's fast, he's strong, and it's exactly what Arsenal need in their team right now. When they can get Saliba back, him and Upamecano would have been an amazing link-up. RB Leipzig, currently playing Champions League football, and I actually went to watch them in a Champions League game, RB Leipzig versus Zenit, and Upamecano was playing in a three-at-the-back system. He was quality, they played a very high line. I think he'd be more suited to the Premier League than going for Pablo Mari because he's stronger, he's fast, and he can keep up to the pace of the level of the game. So in my opinion, that is one player that they should have signed in January. Let's move on to Aston Villa, and the player that I think that they should have signed in January that would have really helped them survive in the Premier League is Benrahma, the player for Brentford in the Championship. This season alone, he's got 8 goals and 6 assists, and he's been injured this year. He's got something about him. He can beat a man, but he's also got that Algerian skill in him that we've seen of Riyad Mahrez. I think he's ready for the Prem, but instead they ended up going with Aston. Now, you can tell me in the comments who you think would have more of an impact for Aston Villa. Now let's move on to Bournemouth. Now this is a team that really could have signed a couple players at least. Eddie Howe is struggling in the Premier League this year. It looks like they're going to get relegated, and the Cherries really needed a boost in January, which they didn't get. Now, someone they did go for 5 days ago is Jacob Bruun Larsen, the Dortmund Danish winger, the 23-year-old who's been through the Danish youth system. Very good stats. They bid 15 million. Jacobs and his agent said no, and he ended up going to Hoffenheim. Bournemouth should have gone back in for him because he would have been quality for them and really helped them bring something special on the wing to help them survive in the Premier League. Right, and the next one is Brighton, and the player that I think they should have signed in January is Vedat Muriqi, the Kosovan player for Fenerbahce, currently playing in the Super League in Turkey. And he's got some great stats actually this year alone, 12 goals and 6 assists in 19 games. Now the player isn't just looked at by the Premier League club of Brighton, but United were also looking for them when they were going for a striker. Now no one ended up signing him in January, even though Brighton were looking into it, and they have sent a scout out. He's 25 years old, so he's still got a few years on him, and I love the fact that there's a Kosovan player getting so much attention in Europe. Let's move over to Burnley. Now if you didn't know, Burnley made their only signing in January, which was Josh Brownhill for about 7 million from Bristol City. Now, another player they were looking into as well from Bristol City is a man called Nicholas Eliasson, a left mid winger, Swedish, and this season alone, he's got 11 assists in 26 games. He's not just a winger, he can play deeper as a wide midfielder in like a 4-4-2 system, which suits Burnley. Great left foot in him, a great cross. He's not only been looked at by Burnley, though Celtic have been watching him, AC Milan, and a few other teams too. So he's a player with a high demand, and his stats are reaping the rewards clearly. Now let's move on to Chelsea. Now I want to keep this video as realistic as possible. Now I could just go out there and say Jadon Sancho. I mean, for God's sake, I think all the top 6 clubs have been linked with Jadon Sancho from now in the past 6 months. The signing they really could have made, and they could have done with a signing up front especially, is Ollie Watkins. Now the Brentford player has currently got 19 goals in 29 games in the Championship. He's fast and got a quality finish on him. He's ready for that move up to the Premier League. And Chelsea were there. They were interested for him. They were looking for a forward. One way or another, the move didn't happen. Ollie Watkins is only 24 as well, so he's got a lot of years ahead of him. And he's a player that's already bagging goals, so he will get a lot more interest in the future. Let's move on to Crystal Palace. Now, the one move that I think they really should have done in January is Jarrod Bowen. Now, if you didn't know, they were actually interested in the man before West Ham came in and hijacked the deal. They bidded on Jarrod Bowen. He's got 17 goals and 6 assists in 26 games in the Championship for Hull City. So sadly for Palace fans, that move didn't happen, but for God's sake, they should have kept up with the bidding war and gone for him more. Now it's time to move on to Everton, and the one man I believe they should have brought in January is Everton Soares. That's right, his first name is literally Everton. He's a 23-year-old winger playing for Grêmio in the Brazilian league, and this season alone, he's got 11 goals and 5 assists in 30 games. Now, they were highly linked with them. Loads of press were saying that they bidded like 40 million euros for him. Realistically, they couldn't sign him for that much. They would have been hitting financial fair play. So therefore, they have to wait till the summer, and I can see this man going to Everton. It won't be long till this guy gets moved to Europe because he's quality. And obviously, he can link up with his Brazilian mates, Bernard and Richarlison, when he gets there. So, look out for him. The next club we're going to talk about is Leicester. Now, the one man I realistically would have loved seeing go to that club is Demiral, the Juventus player and Turkish teammate of Soyuncu for the national team. Oh, it would have been amazing to see them Turks link up at the back in the Premier League, and sadly that move didn't happen. He's not been playing that much at Juventus, but sadly it won't happen, but that would have been a great move. So Liverpool are next, and oh God, do I say it? Do I say it? Now, whether this is realistic or not, I don't know, okay? But I'm going to say it anyway because you want us to say it, all right? Kylian Mbappe is the man I'd love to see go to Liverpool. And I'll tell you why, because there's not much you can do in world football right now to improve that Liverpool side. But bring in the best young striker in the world right now, that wouldn't be too bad. Trent Alexander-Arnold scored and did the celebration that Mbappe does, which is this. Then everyone was saying, oh, Mbappe is actually going to come to Liverpool. Then Kylian Mbappe had an interview with BBC, and by the way, he speaks great English. And he said that Liverpool is a wonderful club. Mbappe in the Prem, don't mind if I do. Now Man City are next, and if you didn't know, they actually didn't invest at all in January. And I think mainly it's because Pep wants to believe in his players. Now the one man I think could change that and really improve them in the second half of the season, which they didn't do, is bring back Vincent Kompany. Now you might think I'm crazy. Get him in the dressing room, maybe as an assistant manager or part of the staff, you know, to take Arteta's position. Because he's a leader, he knows the club. That move didn't happen clearly, and yeah, they lost to Tottenham. Right guys, let's move on to Manchester United. This is an interesting one. So many options. Jadon, Sancho, I could have said. Jack Grealish. And I'm going to say Erling Braut Haaland. The man ended up going to Dortmund in the middle of January. He scored more goals than games. He's been getting hat-tricks and double goals every single game. Bruno Fernandes ended up going to United, but imagine they brought in a really good midfielder like him, and also Erling Braut Haaland up front, because let's be honest, Igalo doesn't cut it for a club like Manchester United. So Newcastle next, and they actually did some really good business in January. But one man they were highly linked with, and for some reason it broke down somewhere in the move, Paco Alcacer, the Dortmund player, now playing at Villarreal because he did a deadline day move for 20 million. Last year in the Bundesliga for Dortmund, he scored 18 goals in 26 games. Before that, he was balling for Barca. Sadly, the move broke down, but what a shame that is. Let's move on to Norwich. Now, they weren't really interested in too many players. Now, one man that I'm going to pick out for you guys is someone they've been interested in for over a year, and it's actually a Bolton Wanderers winger, 19-year-old Romanian called Denis Politic. And I can now understand why all these Premier League clubs were proper interested in him. He is a baller. Last week, he scored an absolute screamer for Bolton. He's got something special about him. He's got pace, he's got strength, and he's got a top finish. Right, the next club we're going to talk about is Sheffield United. Now, you know what, I can't. You know what, they actually had the perfect January transfer window. They signed Zivkovic, Retsos, Sander Berge, Jack Rodwell, who isn't the standout of the bunch, but what a January transfer window. Literally added squad depth in every position. They look stacked now. They've got a proper squad, and mainly Sander Berge, what a baller he's going to become. Now, the next club I'm going to talk about is Southampton, and it's difficult right now because they're playing really well. They're doing very well in the league. Crazy how much they've improved since that 9-0 against Leicester City. They obviously got rid of Cedric and brought in Kyle Walker-Peters. Now, the one problem with that move is Kyle Walker-Peters has no option to buy at the end, and they might have a struggle of no right back come the end of the season. They have to go into the market again. Now, one man that I thought they should have gone in for and just get a big contract on is Matty Cash. Now, he's been playing for Nottingham Forest this season really successfully. Money talks at the end of the day, and if Southampton put in a decent bid for him, they could have had him on a 3-4 year contract and had no worries in the summer when Kyle Walker-Peters could be gone back at Tottenham if he plays well. So there is that kind of worry, and maybe they should have gone with Matty Cash. The next club I'm going to talk about is Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I could say Gareth Bale, but realistically, would that happen in January? No, it wouldn't. So the realistic one I'd go for is Krzysztof Piatek, the Polish striker who last year scored something like 22 goals in 37 games for Genoa, and then he moved over to AC Milan in January and did well for both clubs in one season. Harry Kane obviously got injured in January. Now, Piatek was up on the market. For some reason, I don't think Levy wanted to get the cash out to sign him, but he would have been the perfect short-term replacement whilst Harry Kane is out the team. He ended up going to Hertha Berlin. Now, let's be honest, realistically, people are going to choose Tottenham Hotspur over Hertha. Watford are next. Now, one position they could improve on a little bit is left back. Now, one man this January that was up for grabs was Danny Rose. He ended up going to Newcastle, but why Watford didn't really go in for him, I don't know. And they ended up losing to Everton this weekend, so maybe that wouldn't have happened. Theo Walcott could have been marked down that left back position. The next team we're going to talk about, a player that they should have signed, is West Ham. A player they were highly linked with is Mayel, a Danish right back for Genk, 22 years old, with a market value of 8 million. To be honest, any player at Genk right now seems to be outstanding because every big club are just buying out their players. It's a shame West Ham didn't sign him in the end, but you can't really fault start West Ham's January transfer window with getting Jarrod Bowen and a couple other that will really strengthen their squad. And the last team we're going to talk about is Wolverhampton Wanderers. The one man they really should have brought in is Hwang Hee-chan. Now, if you didn't know, he plays for RB Salzburg. He's a striker, but he can also dip back a little bit. He's got something like 6 goals and 7 assists in 14 games for RB Salzburg this season. I actually got to watch him live this season at Anfield, where they played against Liverpool in the Champions League, and it's clear Hwang Hee-chan loves a big game because he turned Van Dijk and scored. Yes, that moment was him. He's also South Korean. Now, that does bring a massive audience over to the Premier League. It increases shirt sales, which increases revenues for a club like Wolves. It's happened at Tottenham. In the end, they didn't sign him, but I think it would have been a great move. One thing I'd love you guys to do is let me know in the comments, what club do you support and which player should you have signed in January which didn't make it? For Bolton Wanderers, I'm going to say Zach Clough, okay? Also, I get to set the like target in this video because I'm the only one here, so I'm going to say, let's go for 4,000 likes. If we smash that, I'll bring out another Premier League video tomorrow. I'll keep up the run for you guys. That's how we do it. The Thogden army is going every day, and if we hit 4K likes, maybe THOGDAD will teleport back to these videos. Have a great Tuesday night, and I'll see you all later. From me, have a good one. Bye.